Another bikepacking route completed, another UK route ticked off. So in this video we will be doing the Before You Ride the Dales Divide. This ride is a double coast to coast taking you on an adventure through the Yorkshire Dales and the North York Moors. At 370 miles, 600 kilometers, it is on the challenging side. So in this video I will be giving you some insights in what to expect if you decide to take this route on for yourself. From which bike is best, how's the wild camping, and finally giving the route a difficulty rating out of 10, as well as my overall thoughts of the route, again out of 10. 1 being don't even bother, and 10 get out there because it's the best thing since sliced bread. So let's jump into the Before You Ride the Dales Divide. The Dales Divide is a 370 mile route officially starting on the west coast at Arnside, but as it's a loop you can technically start wherever you like. It combines the Yorkshire Dales and the North York Moors. This route is a route that can be undertaken in the official event that happens each year, or you can go explore the Yorkshire Dales and the North York Moors landscape in your own time. This adventure will see you traverse every nook and cranny of Yorkshire, from ancient Roman roads, fast-flowing double track, boggy moorland trails and the quiet country lanes, bridleways and the old disused railway lines. The route itself has plenty of elevation gain to get them legs burning, with just over an Everest worth of elevation, just over 29,000 feet. But with all that climbing means some incredible descending. With the wide open Yorkshire Dale landscape, with the wide double track, you can really let go of them brakes and fly down some of these descents. Not only will you cross the Yorkshire Dales once, but twice, with a double coast to coast, with probably some of the best gravel trails in the North York Moors, with the old disused railway line as you wind your way around the moors with epic views to be seen. If it's a clear day, of course. Whether you are looking to enter the official event and challenge yourself to go as fast as you possibly can, or just want to explore Yorkshire in your own time, one thing is for sure, and that this is a challenging ride. There are plenty of tough trails to conquer, from the boggy moorland trails to the steep rocky trails in the Yorkshire Dales, with plenty of elevation gain. So it's definitely for someone who is looking for a good challenge, and definitely not for your first ever bikepacking adventure, although a lot of the trails you come across are rideable as long as you have the energy to get up them steep climbs. There are plenty of trails that can be quite technical and can be a little hazardous when wet. There are also times where the trails are not as easy to follow as you would like. These trails are mostly few and far between and around the North York Moors. At 375 miles or 600 kilometers, it is not the shortest, and depending on when you take this route on, it could take you anywhere from 3 days on the faster side to 7 days. The route can be slow at times, and with the North York Moors and the Yorkshire Dales both being exposed to the elements, when the weather gets bad, it can get bad fast. That works both ways though. You can experience all the different types of weather in the matter of moments. Although this route does go through places from time to time, it is very much on the remote side for the most part, so you will need to be comfortable being self-reliant along the way, carrying everything you need to get you through this ride. That being said, it is fairly easy to bail off the route if you really need it. Linking both the North York Moors and the Yorkshire Dales does mean there are a few road slogs which are mostly quiet country lanes, but you will need to expect to see the odd car now and then. This route does have a bit of everything from rough, rocky trails to smoother gravel trails and country lanes. If speed is what you are looking for, then I do think you will be slightly better off on the gravel bike. However, you will want a gravel bike with clearance for bigger tyres, as there are some pretty rocky and rough trails, especially around the Yorkshire Dales. Also, a lot of the trails can get boggy. But because a lot of the trails are double track, it does make finding the smoother line on the gravel bike a little easier. There is also a few road slogs between the two national parks, which the gravel bike will come into its own. If speed isn't the overall goal, then you will have a great time with a mountain bike, and it will give you that little bit more control on them rougher parts of the trails. I personally find the gravel bike works really well in the most part in Yorkshire. Needless to say though, there is lots of climbing, so make sure you get the easiest gearing you can. I have spent a fair bit of time around this area cycling and wild camping over the years, and wild camping is either incredible or rubbish, and it's pretty much always down to the weather, as the dales and the moors are so exposed. It means when it rains, lots of the camping spots can and do become waterlogged. Also, being so exposed, you can expect some windy nights ahead of you. On the other hand, when the weather is calmer, there is plenty of great spots to set up for the night, and as this route stays pretty remote, them spots are not too hard to find. Just make sure you camp up high and leave no trace. Set up late and leave nice and early. In terms of what to use, a tent is going to be your best bet here, and make sure it can stand up to some pretty windy conditions. If you are going for speed and the weather is looking good, then a bivvy will do the job. There is not so many trees along a route like this, so a hammock really isn't an option, unfortunately. The Dales Divide is a route that does tend to stay away from most of the bigger built-up areas, but does go through some of the smaller villages. Although there are some cafes and pubs along the route, most of the shops that are directly on this route are mostly little village shops. Village shops are not always open and can shut at random times, I often find. So you will want to make sure you carry a good day or two worth of supplies, and make sure you can take advantage of some of the bigger places you go through along the way, mainly Boroughbridge, York, Scarborough and North Allerton. Getting onto this route using public transport should be fairly easy for most, as there are lots of train stations scattered around the route. I found York to be the easiest for me to get onto, but depending where you are coming from, you might want to choose somewhere different. If you are planning to start on the official start point in Arnside, there is a train station there also. Most of the train companies require you to book your bike on beforehand, so make sure you get a cycle reservation before travelling. The difficulty of the Dales Divide can vary based on what the weather is doing. The fact this ride is very exposed means that if the weather isn't on your side, then this ride can feel extremely difficult. In terms of trails, it has a wide variety of types of terrain, some being much harder than others, some fairly easy to ride trails, and some, well, not so much. I think this route is going to be a challenge for most people in one way or another. Even if you are really experienced, this ride will test you at times. I think I will give this a solid 8 out of 10 for difficulty, with plenty of elevation gain, plenty of exposed trails, and a good amount of boggy trails at certain times of the year definitely mean this route will test your limits at times. My overall rating for the Dales Divide is going to be a 7 out of 10. It's a good route that does indeed cover most, if not all, of the good places to ride in the Yorkshire Dales and the North York Moors, and of course, some of the not so fun parts. I'm looking at you, boggy hiker bikes. From some of the best fast flowing double tracks through the Yorkshire Dales and the amazing gravel tracks through the North York Moors, I did find that sometimes the route just went on and on and on. going off-road for the sake of it, just making the route that little bit longer just to come back up to the same road you were on moments before. Often this becomes a little tedious, especially if trails turn out to be unrideable or a boggy mess. I still think personally, if you want to experience the bikepacking in the Yorkshire Dales, then go and do the Yorkshire Dales 300. For me, that is still the most fun route in the Yorkshire Dales, and the North York Moors Ramble for exploring the moors, although that route still suffers from the bog. I do personally think it's better to ride these two places separately so you can really enjoy them, but if you are looking to challenge yourself with a double coast to coast with an Everest amount of elevation gain, then the Dales Divide has got you covered.